How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin. I'm back with another video. Today we're working on the radiant heat flooring for the mini Barndominium. I have everything mocked up the way I want it. You know, when I first started doing this, I thought, man, this is going to be really confusing. There's like a million videos on YouTube about these systems, but there's no simple system. And I just want a simple system. I don't think you need all the stuff that they put in these. I mean, they put a lot of stuff in here. Now this, it was a little bit expensive, but not near as much as a furnace would cost me. There's quite a few little gadgets you have to buy to make this system work. And I'm going to show you today how I set mine up. Now, I've never used it, but in theory, this thing's going to work just fine. So what we'll do is, I'll show you what I have, we'll get everything hooked up, and after about a year or so, we'll do another update video on how things are working, and if we have to change anything, we'll make sure we get it on video. But like I said, it's about being simple. Do we really need all the stuff that they put on those systems? So let me show you what I have. I'm going to do a close-up video and explain to you where the water's coming in, where the water's going out, and what pieces I have that I thought that was necessary to run this system. So let me get to it and I'll show you what I'm doing. So the first thing I needed to run this system was water. You're going to need water. A lot of people put glycol in them. They'll put 50% water, 50% glycol. Well, we're going to use we're not going to use any glycol. We're just going to use water, and then there's a treatment we can put in there, and I don't know exactly what it is, but my neighbor Rick, he knows, and we're going to do the same thing with mine. And we'll get to that later in the video when we get ready to hook this thing up. So the first thing I needed was water. So I don't want no chemicals, whatever I put in this system, to go into my water system. So I put a one-way valve right here. You can see it has an arrow on it. It's only going to allow water to go down. And then we have a shutoff right here. Now that shutoff goes to a reducer. So we have a 1/2 inch here, 3/4 here. This is what they call a shark bite, which is pretty easy to use. I'm not crazy about them. They're a bit expensive, but they're easy to use. So we're going to use it. It's going to hook right into the top of here. And that's what's going to fill my system. Now if you come straight on down, we're just going to go this way. This is our cold water. So our cold water comes down into here, and then it'll go down in here, and it'll fill up the system. But I also got a sediment trap down here. I know people put a filter on them. I don't know why you'd really need a filter in an enclosed system, but we have a sediment trap here, and also we could use this to drain this system out. We have one shut off on the cold side. So let's follow this as it comes out of the floor cold. The cold water will come up this side, go through. Any sediment will fall down in here, go up, come across. Now what I have here is a mixing valve. This is a valve. We have hot water on this side, cold water on this side. This would be the cold side. So we come into here, and now we can adjust this for different temperatures. If this water comes through the floor and it's still hot enough, it will not go into the hot water tank. It will go down and circulate back through the floor. Hopefully, in theory, that's going to save us money. It's not going to be pushing water through the hot water tank. So that is our mixing valve. This here will go to my hot water tank. This is the cold side in to my hot water tank. So let's go up over this side. This is our hot water coming in to our pipes down here. And we have a shutoff on each one of these. And each one of these go in different rooms, different parts of the house. Now, if I want it colder in one part and not the other, I can just shut one of these off. I could shut it off, or I could turn it halfway on, 3/4 away, whatever. But I can slow the temperature down in certain parts of the house by just using a valve. My system is very small. I only have a 960 square foot house here to heat. So it's pretty small. So anyhow, our hot water goes down through here and comes across and goes down into the floor. I have one of them shark bites for here because it will hook to the plastic and it'll hook to the copper. So let's go on up. Let's follow this copper line. It goes up. Now up here we have a gauge that will tell us our water pressure and temperature, which is pretty good because that's going to let us know that if our hot water tank is putting out heat, hot water, or something might be wrong with it, that's going to tell me. And the pressure, tell me whether the pump's working. So we come over here and we go up and we have an air separator up here. This air separator, as you can see, I put mine in a slight bit of an angle. It goes up. All the air will go to the highest point. Then we have a little bleeder up on the top here. Right here's a little bleeder. We can open that bleeder and take all the air out of our system. Now if you notice, these are a little bit open here. I will put a packing in there, some type of a like cork or something, so this is not rubbing on my copper. So right below that we have an expansion tank. Now if we get too much pressure, this expansion tank is going to take the pressure. And we come down this side over here, down the wall, to a shutoff. We have a shutoff right here, and we have the pump right here. This is a Tyco pump, very small pump. I'll try to leave some of this stuff in the description down below so you know what I bought to put in here. And then we have another that it will go through here to another valve, and this goes into the hot water tank. So we can actually shut that valve off and that valve there, pull the pump out, change it if we need to, without disturbing too much of the system. Very simple setup here, guys. Very simple. We have not much more to go. We have the lines that'll go to the hot water tank. I'm just going to use a flex line. I have a nice big old flex line here, and this will come over to my hot water tank and plug into there. One will plug into there and one will plug into there. So pretty simple system, not much to it. We could go over this again once I get it all soldered in to make sure you understand what I've done here. Now everybody sees this hot water tank here. This is just to take a shower, wash dishes, and that type of thing. It is not for this system. We have a hot water tank sitting right here. It's a 38-gallon hot water tank. That's what's going to run my floors. I did not want an on-demand hot water tank running my floors. This is a 38-gallon hot water tank. It's a 38-gallon. I really wanted the 30, but 38 is fine. We want a reserve of hot water setting and waning. These things use a lot of power. A lot. Now, if you watch, when I go to hook this up, and I hook the floors up, we have the floors and then the on-demand up here. The size of the wire will tell you that this guy here probably uses twice or 3 times as much power as a conventional hot water tank, like so. And the reason why I'm not using 2 hot water tanks instead of using that on-demand one is because I don't have any room to put it, or I would put it in here. So I used it just because of not enough room. So pretty simple system. I'm going to get ready to start soldering all this together. Once I get it all soldered together, I'll get you back in here. Okay, what you're going to need now is you're probably going to need a couple wrenches, pipe wrench, crescent wrench, because we got to take care of this guy here. You're going to need some solder, lead-free solder. You're going to need some flux and a little brush to put your flux on with. a propane tank and a propane torch. I got some little blocks of sandpaper so we could use to clean up everything. And I also have water and a rag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each piece of this apart. We're going to pull it apart. I have this off the ground, off the table just a little bit, just using some nuts. Some good sized nuts there to kind of keep it flush with the table. So we're going to pull each piece out. We're going to take our sandpaper. We're going to clean up all the edges. We're going to clean them all up because we want them nice and clean for when we get ready to weld them together, solder them, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to take each piece apart. The best thing with this, well, you probably want to take a picture before you even get started. I know how this is going to go. We're going to clean the inside of each one of these two. We're going to sand them out just a little bit, just kind of roughen them up. Each piece. And we're going to continue doing this all the way through until we have them all sanded and put back together. I'm just going to lay them in position where they go. And you're going to see down here on the bottom, I'm just going to lay these guys out. This piece right here, this valve, I've already tightened this up because I know I need it in a certain place. I need it to be facing out. So I want to be as tight as I can with the handle facing out. Up just a little bit would be preferable because if I need to go a little bit more, I can. But each piece we're going to pull apart. Lay it right on the table, right where it goes. Some of these are a little bit tight. We'll get to them. So all our pieces are apart. So what we'll do is we'll start sanding them and putting them back together the way they should. We'll put flux on them after we get them sanded. Put flux on each end and put them together. Then we'll be ready for soldering. Once each piece is sanded, we'll take a clean rag, wipe it off. We'll wipe out our inside of our T here. Then we're going to take a little bit of this flux and we're going to rub it around on the inside of this, on each one of them. We'll put a little bit on this piece here we sanded. Then we'll slide it back together. So this piece is ready to solder now. So I'm going to continue doing all this and get it set up, and then we'll start soldering it together. Alright, that's our last piece there. This took me probably about 30 minutes to sand each piece and to clean it, put the flux on it, and put it back together. Listen, I've always said, anytime you're going to weld something, prep is your main thing. To a good weld is prep. If you can prep this and clean it good and get the flux where you need it, you're going to have a good solder job. Now, I have everything laid out where I need it. The only thing is, I want to make sure this thing is 90 degrees. I want to make sure that's going straight out. So I'm going to go find me a little square. Good thing we're checking it because it's off. Okay, so all of our pieces are ready now to solder. And what I've done here on this one here, I tightened this valve up as tight as I could possibly get it. And I made a mark here and a mark there. Let me show you. After I tightened my valve all the way up, it was up here just a little bit because I think I can get a little tighter once it's on there. I marked the two pieces of pipe, or the fittings, the T and the little connector here, so I know where to solder that on there. That way when I tighten it up, my handle's not in the back. So we're going to get ready and go ahead and solder this together. Okay, the only fitting I got to do is this one here. Let that cool off a little bit, and then I'll do that one. Okay, I think we're soldered up pretty good. I think everything looks pretty nice. So this piece is just about ready to go back on the system out there. Okay, we have our little clean out plug that's going to go in the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and hook it up now. We're going to wrap this tape in the direction that we're going to tighten it. So if you're going to turn it to the right to tighten it, you want to put your tape on and you want to run it from the bottom and wrap it around. This is going to, when we screw it in, it's going to tighten the tape, not pull the tape off. I'm not sure how many wraps you need on there, but I know you need enough to where it don't leak. And I'm not so sure you can have too much. We sure don't want to spring a leak anywhere. It's going to be hard once you get this all mounted on the wall to resolder or do whatever you have to do to get rid of the leak. Yeah, I think that one's good. I'm not going to go too tight, but we definitely want it tight. Then we're going to go ahead and mount our valve on. We have this little valve that we need to put on. This is going to go to our cold water. So we're going to Teflon tape this and go ahead and start tightening this up. It's much easier to do this here than it is to do it on the wall. So then again, we're going to wrap our Teflon tape the same way we're going to tighten it. We're going to turn it to the right. We're going to wrap our tape to the right. We're going to put it on there fairly tight and go right to the very edge. Okay, we're going to stop right there. Now our valve is pretty much straight up and down. This piece here is finished. We're ready to go put it on the wall. Okay, so we just got this piece soldered together and fitted into place, and it's perfect. So I'm going to continue doing little pieces of this, taking it to the garage and doing the same thing I did as you've seen in the first part of the clip there, where I was cleaning everything and putting it together. We're going to do the same thing with each piece until we get all this done. So I have a small one here. I'm going to go ahead and take to the garage and start doing it, because this will hook up the hot water going into the system up to the pump. We're going to go ahead and do this one, but I don't think you guys want to see every bit of this together. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and finish all this up and get it soldered together, and then we'll see how it fits in. We finally got our hot water tank in and all the lines hooked up, and it's pressure tested. Everything is holding up good. What I did here, as you can see, I put a gauge here and then a place to put air in it right there, and we filled it up with air and left it set. It's only got about 5 pounds in it. Now what happened was I put some air in there. I had 10 pounds in there. And I don't know if this bladder will absorb some of the pressure that we put in up there over time. I'm not sure. But it's been over a day and a half and I haven't lost any pounds on that. So this job is pretty much finished. I need to get the wire into the hot water tank and get it filled with water. We don't have water actually in the house. We have it to the house, but it's not running through the plumbing yet. So it's going to be a while. So I wanted to finish up this video and show you one last time on how everything works. We do have everything's wired up for the pump, and the pump does work. I don't want to use it because there's no water in it, but you can see it's power on. It has one zone. When the pump kicks on, this one zone comes on, this one light comes on, and you can hear the pump running. Now, I'm not crazy about the sound of that pump being mounted to that wall. It does make some noise. So here's what we have. We have our cold water. This is our cold water return. This is our hot water out. So we come out of the tank, over, and then we have a shut off. Now that shut off is only there so if I want to change that pump, I'll be able to shut that off. Then we come over, you got your pump. Now, if you've seen earlier in the video, this pump was mounted up and down this way. Well, they want the pump mounted this way. So I did change that and mounted the pump. It's laying this way now. Then you have a shut off right there. Hit both them shut offs, you're able to pull that pump out of there and change it out if you have to. And this pump is wired into this, which has the wire that goes out to the thermostat in the living room, and that thermostat turns this switch on, which makes our pump work. So anyhow, back to the plumbing. We have a valve there. We come up and we have a air separator on the top right here, and then as you can see, like I said before, I kind of put these in an angle so the air will go up. It's going to follow the highest spot. Then we have the pressure tank, expansion tank right there. Then we have this tells us the temperature, and this tells us how many pounds are in it. Just a gauge. Come down this side. That's all hot water now, coming down. Then I have a mixing valve. Now that hot water will continue going down through here and out and down into our floor. Now the mixing valve, and the reason why I put the mixing valve in is when the cold water comes up out of the floor, comes over, goes up, back across here, and if this water coming in this line right here is still hot enough, it will go through here and back into the floors. So if we set this, and you can set this at different temperatures, you can by twisting this. So you can set that at different temperatures. So what we'll have, instead of that water coming down and going back into our hot water tank, it will go back through and circulate through the floors again without running our hot water tank. I think in theory it works. I don't know. I've just been told that it will. I tried to do as much research as I could to make sure. So that's the mixing valve. Hot water comes back in, the cold water comes in, goes down in the tank, heats up, and does the circulation again. Up here we're going to have we'll have a shut off right here, which will mount into this shark bite right here. And we have the one-way valve right here. Now if we have any chemicals in this system, we don't want to get them back into our drinking system. We don't want it back in there. So I put that one-way valve right here, so I know that no water is going to go back into my drinking water. Down at the bottom here, I didn't put a filter on this line. I don't think I need a filter. I made sure I cleaned out all the pipes, everything. We deburred everything. So anything that would come through here, sediment, would go down into this piece right here. Now this could be used as a sediment trap, or you can use this to drain this whole system on the top. And on your hot water tank, there's a place down here to drain it. So we can drain that and drain that system over here. And now we have I was going to put one of these on my system, but being that the hot water tank has a pop-off valve on it, we don't need one up there too. We just use this one. This will be fine. This, if you get too much pressure, it's going to pop. So anyhow, we got it all set up. I think everything turned out really well. I'll do a video when we get it filled up. As we're filling it up, we'll do a video on it and get it fired up and see how it works. I'll do a separate video on that. I did raise it up off the floor. I put some red bricks under there and a piece of 3/4 inch plywood to hold it up off the floor. And the drain goes down this side. The little white pipe we're looking at goes down, and it tees into the bottom, goes right underneath the tank, right into the drain. So any water that needs to be drained, if it drains out, it's going to go right up underneath there and into there. Now around the bottom, I also, if you look, I put silicone all the way around the floor. That way if this does sprinkle a leak, it's not going to go under that wall out into the living room or into the hallway. And there's a drain, like I said, right under the hot water tank. Any water goes under there should go in that drain. And we also have the drain in the floor. And I have one heck of a mess in here. So that is my boiler system, and I know everybody's looking at that thing. Like I said, that's for the hot water to take a shower. That's not for my floors. So we don't have a whole lot to do to get it up and running, fill it up with water, and then we got to hook the wire into it to make sure, we got electric to it. Both of them, I got to hook a wire to both of them. Like to tell everyone, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave me thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment if you'd like. Until next time.